Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'll be going through the solution to exercise 1.13 from the C programming language textbook by Kernighan and Ritchie. Now, I have actually made a video on this before, but there was an error. I misinterpreted what a histogram was, so this is going to be a reattempt of that. And this will be the horizontal version. So what we need to do is count how often certain lengths of words occur in the input. So this implies that we should get user input. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. And I'm just going to do this as the book has done. Okay. So this gets user input, but I should also have an integer array that will store all the different lengths or all the frequencies of the different lengths of words. So I'm going to call this word lengths, and how many elements I should have, I'm not sure, and I'm going to initialize all the elements inside this array to be 0 using this. So I'm going to use a constant here. I'm going to define one. I'm going to call it max max len, and it's going to be 5. And so here I can do max underscore len. Now really, this is technically 4, but we'll see that in a little bit. So let's also have an integer that will count the current length, the length of the current word. So current length, and we're going to initialize it to 0. And so this is what we're going to do. We're going to say, first of all, if the character is a new line, or the character is a space, or if the character is a tab, then what should we do? Well, that means that we might have just exited from outside of a word and we can update our array. But we should only update it if the word had a length between 1 and just before the max length, right? Because I don't want to count words whose length is 0. Like if I just press space, 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 I don't want it to say those were like 4 spaces or 4 words of length 0. So I'm going to say if the current length of the word is larger than 0, so it actually has a length, and the current length is less than max len, so it's within our bounds, then I can just do this. I can say word lengths of current length, and that's going to be my index. And what should I do to it? I should increment it. So that's what this is. Okay. And let's just go over this. Actually, we'll continue. And then here I'll say else. Otherwise, if we didn't hit a new line character or a space or a tab, then we've hit some other character and a character inside a word, and so we can just increment current length like so. So let's think about what happens. Say I type in space, space, space to begin with. This gets checked, it's true. This is false since current length is still 0, and actually here we should reset current length to 0. And so space, space, space won't count anything. It'll just be ignored. What if we type in hello? H will go here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. But 5 is not less than 5. So we can't count it in. And so actually I'm going to make max len 10. And so we can count frequencies from 0 through to 9. Well, actually, we ignore zeros, so we can have a word length of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. Okay, so that's the counting part. Now let's think about how we're going to print it. So to print it, let us, because this is a horizontal orientation, let us just use a for loop, a simple for loop. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at index 1 in the word lengths array, and that's because index 0 is the frequency of words with 0 length, and we want to ignore that. We're just going to start at 1. And then I'm going to say while I is less than max len. So we'll go through every element except that 0, as we just mentioned. And then I'm going to increment at the end. Now what do we want to do? So now we're going to be going through the frequency for word lengths of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. So I'm going to print a little message, and it's going to be number of words with length. Actually, let me remove that. And it's going to be I. So it's going to be number of words with length 1, number of words with length 2, number of words with length 3, so on and so forth. So let's say we're on the first one. So it prints out number of words with length 1. Now what should we do? I'm going to use asterisks to print out the actual histogram. So after we say number of words of length 1, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to nest another for loop inside it. This time I'm going to use an integer j because I has already been taken up. And I'm just going to say while j is less than the value of this, we can do our loop. So just to, make sure we understand what's happening here, number of words of length 1, let's say. This will go and find how many, this will give back how many words of length 1 there are, and it will loop that many times. So if there's 5 words of length 1, this loop will go on for 5. Okay, what should we do? I'm going to print an asterisk, like this. And then after we've printed that out, we should just print a new line to go to the next word frequency length. Okay, that looks good to me. I'm going to compile. And I'm going to call it 113 easy. Is that okay? Nice. Easy. And I'm going to say, hello, this is a test, space, tab. Make sure it doesn't actually count those. Space, good, test, B. Let's see. And then control D. Okay. Actually, let's fix this a little bit. It doesn't look that pretty. Let's try that again. Hello, this is a test. Let's try that. Control D. And there we go. So 1 is the A of length 2. That's the is. Length 4, there's 2 words. That's this and test. Length 5 is that. And yeah, now that will be all for this video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.